Okay, so I'm Nick, and this is my ASU football analysis. So where are we? ASU football has been one of the most exciting programs to watch and follow in the last year, as we went 11-3 this past season, winning the Big 12 championship, and we earned a spot in the first ever 12-team college football playoffs, which is very exciting. And all of these accomplishments came fast as we went 3-9 last year. And notable players like Cam Scadaboo right there brought a lot of attention to the program, and also brought alongside some exciting recruits for next season, as we have the number one ranked recruiting class in the Big 12 right now. Some of the notable current players that could bring in a lot of revenue or have a lot of attention to their name is Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson, two projected first rounders, and Kanya Uda, who's a new transfer running back from Army. And now we're going to dive into the exploratory analysis, where the main purpose here is to answer an important question for the future of our football game ticketing, as I want to discuss which age group we should target going forward with our non-student tickets. For this case, we're going to null marital status, as we are simply looking for age group and the amount of money people are willing to spend. Also, the silent generation will not be weighed too heavily when it comes to our data because, one, there are so few of them, and a lot of them also just do not have the capability to attend some of these games because of the weather condition at 100 plus degrees. I mean, I can't really picture too many people from that generation going to every game like that. And some of the key performance indicators we want to use here regard the purchaser's salary, how much they spend, and essentially where they like to spend their money, either through merchandising or maybe other sporting events possibly. And as for the descriptive analytics, I first want to get into the demographics of those who purchased tickets for the football games. As you can see, Gen X and baby boomers take up a very large chunk of attendees, and millennials lie on the next piece of the pie, right over there, a little smaller. And being the up-and-coming larger salary generation, their lack of attendance for these games could or should be the most targeted market for going forward, as well as the younger generations too. Some more descriptive analytics. As we look at the average salary for each generation, we see that their spending numbers are quite constant with the increase in the salary in generation. And the higher the salary, the more likely people are to spend money according to this. And being the next generation reaching the middle ages, it once again makes sense that the group we should target is the millennials and Gen Z for that matter. But it just off the trend right here, off the pivot table. Some more descriptive analytics. Now we're going to dive into how they spend on ASU sporting events and merchandising as a whole. So not just ASU football here. And this is another reason why millennials should be an ideal target market to focus, because it might not be the lack of their spending habits in football games, as they spend money elsewhere, and they actually outweigh Gen X on these two categories. So this just shows that it might not necessarily be because of their lower salaries, but rather their willingness to spend money at the ASU games in general for football. And this will lead to my point of why I think we need a better way to target this generation. Now, to go over some statistical testing. To back up my ideas surrounding the future of millennials and their salary and spending increase, I ran a regression to see if salaries and willingness to purchase tickets are correlated. As you can see, the p-value right there is highlighted, and it's practically zero, meaning that they are in fact correlated, and we can use this information to predict the success of marketing towards millennials and younger generations following. And here I ran an ANOVA single factor test to see which ways of purchasing tickets were most successful. As I highlight again, the other category is the most popular way of purchasing tickets. This could link to maybe procrastination, like showing up to the game and buying the ticket there and just forgetting to get it beforehand, maybe, or it's cheaper at the game. I don't really know, but it could also have to do with the fact that the older generation tends to prefer face-to-face interaction when purchasing, and since the older generations are the most attendees, it would make sense that this is the reason. And given today's world, this data shows us that we should focus more on the phone and website categories who are lacking for the younger generations. Millennials would likely prefer a link or code to scan rather than go into a box office, I feel like. And I will go deeper into how we can fix this later, but I think that an improvement on our website could benefit reaching the audience, or an improvement on our social media as well, which I will dive into. Another statistical test, here I ran a regression, and some have brought up a statement about how people who donate more money are more likely to have more purchases, and therefore they're our most loyal fans and most reliable. And after running a regression, I came to the conclusion that this is not entirely accurate, as we see the number highlighted once again next to R squared, and the number shows 0.27489 and so on, which is considered a weak correlation. And given this test, I disagree that our most loyal purchasers of tickets are those who donate more. And with this data, I officially recommend that we currently target the millennial generation while focusing on the following generations as well. To successfully sell to them, I believe we must create a better social media presence for the millennial generation. They're likely alumni, so I feel like highlighting some sort of nostalgia factor when posting about these games should be something we do. As you see, I made a little graphic there through AI. And also with the younger generations to come, establishing a presence through Instagram and maybe TikTok could be important later in the years. And as for the older generations, our current strategies work for them, and at this age, studies show that they likely would not change their purchasing habits in comparison to like a young adult would, as our mind's still forming, and I change my mind all the time. And to improve this data set for the future, I recommend that we dive deeper into the food and drink items being purchased at games. So we see who targets, or so we see who to target and see if it aligns with who spends the most money at these games. And maybe there's a correlation, maybe there's not. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching, and go Devils.